On August 25, 1995, Microsoft released version 7 of Microsoft Office. This was the first ever 32-bit version of the software and superseded the previous version, Office 4.3. 1995 was a big year for Microsoft as they had released the newest version of Windows, called rather unimaginatively Windows 95. Office 95 was to be their flagship product to complement the new operating system, and as such it would not run on Windows 3.x or earlier versions of Windows. It was however compatible with Windows NT 3.51 and Windows NT 4.0, these being the business orientated versions of the Windows operating system. Being able to run Office 95 on Windows NT 3.51 was of interest because this OS looked the same as Windows 3.x, but was in fact a true 32-bit operating system instead of the 16-bit architecture of Microsoft DOS that underlay Windows 3.x computers. Office 95 was made up of 6 applications: Word, a word processor; Excel, a spreadsheet; PowerPoint, a presentation tool; Access, a database management system; Schedule Plus, a time management app; and Binder, a tool for combining work from the 5 other apps together. This collection of applications was the first time that all components were 32-bit. Word 6.0 and Excel 5.0 had been released in 32-bit for Windows NT, but PowerPoint 4.0 had remained 16-bit. Object linking and embedding, or OLE, was at version 2.0 in Office 95. This system that had been developed by Microsoft enabled users to exchange data between the applications and was the core protocol of the Binder program. The version number for Office jumped from 4.3 to 7.0. This was to match the version number for Word. However, this meant that some of the other applications skipped their version numbers. Excel had version 5.0 and PowerPoint 4.0, while Access was previously back at version 2.0. This update to version numbers was common with Microsoft, and many of their product lines would move around in similar ways over the years. Aesthetically, Office 95 introduced the gradient title bar. The bar went from black on the left side to blue on the right side. No other program running on Windows 95 or Windows NT had a title bar that had gradient colouring. This unique feature then went on to become commonplace after the introduction of Windows 98. Office 95 was shipped in 2 versions, Standard Edition and Professional Edition. The Professional Edition included the Access database system and Microsoft Bookshelf, a CD-ROM based reference application that included an encyclopedia and thesaurus. At the time, Microsoft marketed several other applications as compatible with Microsoft Office 95. These included Microsoft Project, Microsoft Publisher and Microsoft Front Page. 2 updates were released for Office 95, named versions 7.0a and 7.0b. Both had to be ordered by Microsoft support, as was standard for the time. In 1995 the internet was available, but access to download updates for software was not yet common. By 1999 an update was made available for download to address the year 2000 problem. There was a specific bug that appeared in Office 95 that was never fixed by Microsoft. This bug affected the JET database engine and would cause Access to be unusable on any computer with over 1 GB of memory. In the real world, this was not a significant problem as the average memory allocation on a Windows 95 computer was 8 MB. You would have been hard pressed to have found a motherboard that could support 1 GB of memory in 1995, and as such this issue was never deemed worth fixing by Microsoft. The hardware required to run Office 95 was a 386DX CPU or higher, 8 MB of RAM and between 28 MB and 88 MB of disk space. The typical desktop PC of the time would have shipped with a Pentium CPU, 8 MB of RAM, 320 MB to 1 GB hard drive and optional CD-ROM drive. Monitors were commonly 14 to 15 inch and would display at the 800 by 600 resolution. Those who could afford it would have had a 17-inch monitor with a 1024 by 768 resolution. Microsoft Office 95 was the 4th version of this application. It was to be followed by 10 more versions between 1995 and 2021, becoming one of the most important product lines that the Microsoft Corporation provides.